My Little Pony Infection AU Fangs Rodriguez. Story by Israel Rodriguez. Help with AI Dungeon. Note: the story will be in first person at times. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos, and turn that bell on to stay updated. Enjoy the story.
Fangs was walking around Ponyville, not trying to make a sound. The infection had just only been announced today, but everybody was panicking. Some were unaware of the virus, others were skeptical. Fangs Rodriguez is a male unicorn living in Ponyville, a small and peaceful town in the My Little Pony Infection-O. You grew up in this town and have always seen it as a safe haven from the chaos that has spread across the land. But recently, the town has been overrun with infected ponies, and it has become more difficult to stay safe. You've lost many friends to the infection, and are determined to find a way to rid the town of the scourge. As you walk through town, you see a group of infected ponies gathered around a building. They seem to be attacking something inside. You approach cautiously, your horn at the ready in case they come after you. As you approach the building, you hear a faint call for help. You carefully make your way to the building, your senses on high alert for any sign of danger. As you get closer, you can see that the infected ponies are surrounding a small group of Earth pony survivors. One of them seems to be trying to defend themselves with a makeshift weapon. Fangs says, "Good thing I got my guns from my home world when I was a human." The infected ponies surrounding the small group of survivors perk up at your voice. Their gazes shift towards you, their eyes filled with hunger and malice. You can feel their magic building up, preparing to unleash a powerful attack. You use your magic to use your guns. You shoot the infected with a suppress AK-47 when the infected gets close to you, but not so close that you get infected. As you ready your guns, the infected ponies around you tense, their bodies coiling for an attack. You take a deep breath, focusing your magic on the weapons in your hooves. With a flick of your wrist, you activate the magic in the guns, causing them to burst into life. Suddenly, the air around you is filled with the deafening roar of gunfire as you unleash a hail of bullets towards the infected ponies. They're caught off guard by the sudden onslaught, their bodies jerking and twitching as the rounds tear through them. Despite your best efforts, some of the infected ponies manage to get past your barrage of bullets and charge at you. You quickly switch tactics, using your magic to create a shield in front of you. The shield holds firm against the onslaught, deflecting the attacks of the infected. You use a machete to cut into the infected as you use your shield. As you continue to fend off the infected ponies, you notice one of the survivors trying to escape. You quickly lower your shield and rush towards the fleeing pony. The pony looks back at you, relief washing over their face as they see you coming to their aid. Fangs says, "Is everybody okay?" The pony looks around, taking stock of their friends. "I think so, but we need to get out of here fast." They glance at the building behind them, where the sounds of fighting are growing louder. You nod in agreement, grabbing the pony's hoof and running towards the nearest exit. The other survivors follow suit, their eyes wide with fear and gratitude. As you make your way through the town, you can hear the sounds of fighting getting closer and closer. Some of the survivors remembers Fangs as the pony who likes to be bored by Princess Luna, and in a relationship with you. Well, there's no time for that now. We need to find somewhere safe. You lead the group of survivors through the back alleys and hidden paths of Ponyville, trying your best to avoid the infected ponies that are roaming the streets. We find Luna also with guns. As you continue to guide the group of survivors through the now desolate town, you hear the sound of gunfire echoing in the distance. Suddenly, you come across Princess Luna, her wings spread wide and her horn glowing with magic. When we all get to a safe zone, we are able to talk. Princess Luna, one of the survivors, gasps, bowing their head in respect. "Thanks, Celestia, you're here. We've been trying to find a way out of town, but the infected are everywhere." Luna looks around at the group of ponies, her gaze softening. "There's no need to bow," she says, her voice calm and reassuring. "I'm just glad to see some of you survived. We'll need to stick together if we're going to make it out of here alive." She looks at you, her eyes narrowing slightly. Later at the safe zone, Luna and Fangs kiss. You nod in agreement, your eyes never leaving the princesses. "Your Highness, we're lucky to have you with us," you say, your voice gruff with emotion. Luna smiles grimly at your words. "Let's get moving," she says, her tone businesslike. At the safe zone, ponies ask Fangs if the rumors of Luna voring him were true. Fangs smirks and looks at Luna, a playful glint in his eyes. Well, I wouldn't be here if she didn't have a taste for me, he says, his voice low and teasing. Princess Luna rolls her eyes, but there's a hint of amusement in her expression. Luna admits the rumors are not rumors. Luna blushes when saying this. As the group starts to move again, you can't help but feel a sense of relief wash over you. Princess Luna may not be able to save Everpenny, but at least she's here to help those who remain. You keep your guard up, scanning the surroundings for any signs of danger. Fangs says, Luna, can you vor me again when we get somewhere safe? I love when you belch my skull out. Luna looks at you with a mixture of surprise and amusement. Of course, my love, she says, her voice soft and reassuring. She knows how much you enjoy her unique form of affection. As the group continues their journey, Princess Luna keeps a close eye on her surroundings, always ready to defend her subjects from harm. The tension in the air seems to lift slightly as Princess Luna's promise echoes through the group. Despite the grim circumstances, there's a sense of camaraderie among the survivors, bolstered by the presence of their beloved princess. The further they go, the more the group starts to notice changes in the landscape. Buildings that were once bustling with life are now empty shells, their windows shattered and doors hanging off their hinges. The air is thick with the stench of death and decay, making it difficult to breathe at times. As the group continues their trek, they eventually stumble upon a working military base. The base is heavily fortified, with tall fences topped with barbed wire, and armed guards patrolling the perimeter. The survivors are hesitant to approach, fearing rejection or worse. Princess Luna steps forward, her wings spread wide and her horn blowing softly. We come in peace, she says, her voice strong and commanding. We're survivors of Ponyville, seeking refuge from the infected. We mean you no harm. The guards exchange glances, their expressions wary but not hostile. After a tense moment, one of them nods and approaches Luna, bowing his head respectfully. Princess Luna, he says, his voice trembling slightly. We've heard reports of your presence in these parts. Luna nods solemnly, her gaze never leaving the guard. We're here to help, she says simply. Our town was overrun, but we managed to escape. We need food, water, and shelter. In return, we offer our skills in whatever assistance we can provide. The guard nods, looking relieved. Follow me, he says, leading the group through a heavily guarded gate. Inside the base, it's a flurry of activity as soldiers scurry about, attending to their duties. The survivors are led to a large mess hall, where they are given hot meals and clean drinks. As the group settles in, Princess Luna spends time with each member, listening to their stories and offering comfort where she can. You find yourself drawn to her, feeling safe in her presence despite the dire circumstances. Luna smiles at you, her eyes softening. I'm glad we found this place. Fangs says, Luna, my love, I can't wait to have our fun at diner time. Luna chuckles softly, her gaze warm as she looks at you. I'm looking forward to that too, my love, she says, reaching out to gently stroke your mane. But for now, let's focus on getting settled in and finding out what we can do to help these soldiers. Princess Luna nods to one of the guards, who approaches them with a respectful bow. Your Highness, the commander would like to speak with you. He has heard of your arrival and wishes to express his gratitude for your assistance. Luna smiles softly before nodding at the guard, signaling for him to lead the way. As Princess Luna follows the guard, she can't help but feel a sense of hope in the air. This military base may just be what they need to turn the tide against the infected. The guard leads Princess Luna through a series of hallways and doors, each one more secure than the last. Finally, they arrive at a large office with a desk made of polished wood and a row of shelves filled with books and maps. The commander stands at attention, his uniform crisp and clean. He's an older stallion with a weathered face and a steely gaze. Princess Luna, he says, his voice deep and resonant. It's an honor to have you here. Luna bows her head respectfully. Thank you, Commander. We're all grateful for your hospitality. She glances around the room, taking in the maps and charts on the walls. I hope we can be of assistance to you and your soldiers. The commander nods gravely. We're stretched thin, Princess. He sighs heavily, his shoulders slumping for a moment before he straightens up again. We've been holding our own against the infected, but it's only a matter of time before they break through our defenses. Your arrival couldn't have come at a better time. Luna nods, her expression serious. We understand the gravity of the situation. What can we do to help? she asks, her horn blowing softly as she prepares to use her magic. The commander hesitates for a moment, considering her question carefully. We've been trying to gather intelligence on the infected. He gestures to a large map on the wall, marked with red dots indicating the locations of known outbreaks. We need to find out where they're coming from and how they're spreading. If we can stop the source, we might be able to turn the tide against them. Luna nods, her eyes fixed on the map. I see. What information do you need? She asks, her voice calm and reassuring. The commander takes a deep breath, his gaze never leaving the map. We need to know where they're coming from, he repeats. And how they're spreading, Princess Luna adds, her horn glowing brighter as she focuses on the problem at hand. We'll do everything we can to gather that information for you. The commander looks at her gratefully, his expression softening slightly. Thank you, Princess. Your help means more than you know. As night falls over the base, Princess Luna retires to her quarters with you, her personal guard. The room is small but cozy, with a comfortable bed and a small table for writing. The door is secured with a heavy lock, and guards patrol the hallway outside. Fangs says, do you want me to rub your belly when I am in your gut this time? Princess Luna chuckles softly, her expression softening as she looks at you. That would be lovely, my little pony, she says, nuzzling you gently. But first, let's get some rest. Tomorrow is sure to bring new challenges. As you snuggle up to Princess Luna, you can't help but feel a sense of unease in the pit of your stomach. The events of the day have left you feeling on edge, and the thought of the infected lurking outside the safety of the base is enough to keep you awake for hours. Princess Luna wakes you up early the next morning, her horn glowing softly, as she casts a spell to wake you from your slumber. Rise and shine, my little pony, she says with a soft smile. We have work to do today. You stretch and yawn, rubbing the sleep from your eyes as you stand up from the bed. What kind of work do we have to do today? You ask, looking around the room. Princess Luna smiles reassuringly. We'll be working with the commander and his team to gather more information on the infected, she says. We'll be going out on patrol to investigate some of the areas where they've been spotted, and we'll also be analyzing any samples we manage to collect. She pauses, her expression turning serious. It won't be easy, but together we can make a difference. Fangs says, can I be your lunch later today? Princess Luna chuckles softly, her gaze softening as she looks at you. Of course, my little pony, she says, nuzzling you gently. You're always welcome in my gut. She takes a deep breath, her horn glowing softly as she prepares for the day ahead. The two of you make your way to the mess hall for breakfast, where you join the other members of the base. The atmosphere is tense, with whispered conversations and nervous glances exchanged between the soldiers. The smell of coffee and bacon fills the air, but neither of you feels particularly hungry. Everybody knows about the vor thing, even the soldiers. You and Princess Luna sit down at a table near the back of the room, keeping to yourselves as you eat. The conversation around you is subdued, punctuated by occasional updates from the commander. As you finish your meal, Princess Luna speaks up. All right, my little pony, she says, her voice calm and reassuring. Let's go and meet with the commander. Together, you make your way to the briefing room, where the commander is waiting for you. The room is small and cramped, with a large table in the center and maps covering the walls. One soldier bullies Fangs for being into vor. All this in front of Luna. He's been acting suspiciously, the soldier says, his voice low and threatening. We can't afford any traitors right now. Fangs cowers, his eyes darting around nervously. You feel a flash of anger at the bully's words, but you remain silent. Fangs says, I like to be in Luna's gut, so what? Princess Luna looks at you, her expression concerned. It's all right, my little pony, she says softly. We'll handle this. She turns her attention to the bully, her horn glowing softly. I suggest you reconsider your actions, she says, her voice low and threatening. The bully steps back, his eyes widening in fear as he realizes the power Princess Luna holds. The tension in the room eases slightly as the commander calls the meeting to order. You and Princess Luna take your seats at the table, listening intently as the commander briefs you on the day's plans. He speaks of the dangers that lie ahead, of the infected lurking in the shadows, waiting for their chance to strike. As he finishes speaking, the commander looks at you and Princess Luna. We'll be splitting up into 2 teams, he says. Princess Luna and our little friend here will be leading one team, while I lead the other. Our goal is to gather as much information as we can about the infected and their behavior. Fangs says, yes, sir. Princess Luna smiles softly at you, her eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, my little pony, she says quietly. We'll do our best to keep everyone safe. The two of you leave the briefing room, making your way to the armory to gather your supplies. Fangs put his silencers on all his guns. As you and Princess Luna prepare for your mission, you can't help but feel a sense of dread creeping up on you. The armory is filled with an eerie silence, interrupted only by the soft clanking of metal on metal as you and the others equip yourselves for battle. Fangs says these guns make me feel like a real-life Doom guy. Princess Luna chuckles softly, her eyes twinkling with amusement. Indeed, my little pony, she says. But remember, our goal is not to cause harm if we can avoid it. We are here to gather information and survive. She pauses for a moment, her expression turning serious. Let's be careful out there, she says, her voice low and grave. The infected are not to be taken lightly. You nod in agreement, your heart racing with excitement and fear. Together, you and Princess Luna make your way out into the desolate wasteland that was once a bustling city. Fangs says this world is like a pony version of a TV show back on Earth called The Walking Dead. Did you know that, Luna, my love? Princess Luna nods, her expression thoughtful. I have heard of it, she says. But let's focus on our mission, my little pony. The fate of Equestria depends on us. The two of you move silently through the empty streets, your senses on high alert for any signs of danger. Despite your best efforts, you can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. The hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you tense, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. Princess Luna notices your unease and places a reassuring hoof on your shoulder. It's all right. Just then a partially infected Twilight Sparkle comes to help. Twilight has no lower jaw as she cut it off. I think we should band together, Twilight says, her eyes darting around nervously. We're stronger together. Princess Luna nods in agreement, and the three of you continue on your mission, your combined strength and determination fueling you as you navigate the treacherous landscape. Fangs says, Princess Twilight, are you talking with no lower jaw? Twilight Sparkle looks down at herself, a mix of horror and confusion on her face. I don't know, she stammers, her voice muffled by the lack of her lower jaw. It's like this whenever I try to speak. Fangs says you did this to yourself because you knew you were infected, did you, Twilight? Twilight's eyes widen in fear as she backs away from you and Princess Luna. I don't know, she stutters, her voice trembling. I just felt it happening. Her eyes dart around nervously, as if expecting the infected to jump out at her from any moment. Princess Luna steps forward, her expression stern but reassuring. Come, Twilight. Fangs says, tell the truth, Twilight, we are not going to be angry. Twilight hesitates for a moment, then slowly nods. I think I did it to myself, she admits in a small voice. I knew I was infected, and I didn't want to hurt anyone else. I thought this would be the best way to contain the infection. Fangs says I have a feeling Twilight knows the magic of telepathy. I have heard about it, but never believed it until now. Princess Luna looks at Twilight with a mix of concern and curiosity. You can use telepathy, she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. Twilight nods, her eyes downcast. I think so, she says hesitantly. But I've never been able to control it very well. Fangs says we were told to find info about the infection. Can you help us out? Twilight hesitates for a moment, then nods slowly. I'll try, she says, closing her eyes as she concentrates. After a few moments of silence, she opens her eyes and speaks, her voice barely above a whisper. The infection, it's spreading quickly. Twilight shakes her head. I'm sorry, she whispers. That's all I can get. She looks up at you and Princess Luna, fear and uncertainty written all over her face. But we have to keep going. Princess Luna nods grimly. We do, she says. We must find the source of this infection and put an end to it before it's too late. She turns to Twilight. Can you lead us to where the infected are gathered? Twilight nods, her eyes darting around nervously. Yes, I can sense their location, she says, her voice trembling. It's not far from here, but we have to be careful. The three of you nod in agreement, your hearts racing as you prepare to face the infected horde. It turns out the source of the infection is a crashed spaceship. As you approach the crash site, the stench of death and decay becomes overwhelming. Twilight leads the way, her senses guiding her through the treacherous landscape. Princess Luna and Fangs follow closely behind Twilight, their weapons at the ready. As they near the crash site, they hear the sound of moaning and groaning echoing through the trees. Princess Luna and Fangs share a look of determination, their faces set in grim lines. They prepare themselves for the fight ahead, knowing that the fate of Equestria may rest on their shoulders. As they step out from behind the cover of the trees, they see the crash site before them. The spaceship lies in ruins, its metallic hull twisted and torn apart. The ground around it is littered with debris and bodies, both pony and alien. The air is thick with the stench of death and decay. In the center of the carnage, a group of infected ponies are gathered around the wreckage. Their eyes are blank, their expressions twisted in pain and rage. As you approach, they turn their attention towards you, their growls echoing through the silent forest. Princess Luna steps forward, her horn glowing brightly. In Namen Domini Nostri Isu Christi, sit nomen Domini, she intones, casting a powerful spell that sends a wave of holy energy washing over the infected ponies. A light envelops them, and for a moment, they seem to writhe in agony. Fangs takes out those who did not die. As the light fades, the infected ponies lie still, their bodies reduced to ash. Princess Luna turns to Twilight, her expression grim. Are there any others? She asks, her voice harsh with emotion. Twilight shakes her head slowly, her eyes darting around nervously. No, I don't sense any more infected nearby, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. But we need to keep looking for the source of this infection. The three of you nod grimly, knowing that the danger is far from over. As you continue to search the crash site, you find various pieces of alien technology scattered throughout the wreckage. Among them is a small, glowing orb that pulsates with an eerie blue light. Princess Luna approaches it cautiously, her horn glowing once more. I don't know what this is. The orb talks to Twilight. Twilight nods, her eyes wide with surprise. It's speaking to me, she says, her voice trembling. It says it's a containment device for the infection. It was designed to prevent the spread of the virus, but it must have malfunctioned during the crash. Fangs says I seen AI back on Earth, and this is super advanced. Even more so than on Earth. Princess Luna raises an eyebrow at your comment, her expression unreadable. Interesting, she says, her tone neutral. Perhaps this technology can be harnessed for good once we've dealt with the threat it poses. The AI says to look for the intergalactic manual for fixing him. It is in the archive room in the spaceship. We will do our best to retrieve that information, Princess Luna says, her voice grim. But for now, we must focus on containing the infection and finding a way to cure those who have already been infected. She turns to Twilight. Can you use your magic to scan the area for any other signs of the virus? Twilight nods and concentrates, her eyes closed as she focuses her magic. After a few moments, she opens her eyes and shakes her head. I don't sense any other infected nearby, she says, her voice relieved. But we should still be careful. Princess Luna nods in agreement. Indeed, she says, her gaze sweeping over the surrounding area. Let's gather as much information as we can from the crash site before moving on. We must be vigilant at all times. She turns to Twilight. Fangs says, hold on, I'm reloading. As Fangs reloads his guns, Princess Luna nods in understanding. Of course, she says, her voice calm. Take your time. We must be prepared for anything. She turns back to Twilight, her eyes scanning the crash site intently. Twilight nods and concentrates, her eyes closed as she focuses her magic. After a few moments, she opens her eyes and shakes her head. I don't sense any other infected nearby, she says, her voice relieved. But we should still be careful. Princess Luna nods in agreement. Indeed. The three of you continue your search of the crash site, gathering as much information as you can about the alien technology and the infection. As you move through the wreckage, you can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. Just then an alien pony with 3 eyes walks out pointing its gun at Twilight, with fear on its face, the pony looking like it is 18 years old. Princess Luna raises her hoof defensively, her expression hardening as she prepares for a fight. Stay calm, she says to the alien pony, her voice low and steady. We mean you no harm. We're just trying to survive this ordeal like everyone else. The alien pony looks at Twilight with a mixture of fear and confusion. You're not like the others, it says, its voice trembling. They were infected. They changed. You're not infected, are you? Twilight shakes her head quickly, reassuring the alien pony. But the alien's gun says otherwise. Princess Luna steps forward, her horn glowing brightly. "Put down your weapon," she says firmly, her voice filled with authority. "We're not here to cause harm. We're simply trying to survive and find a way to stop this infection." The alien tells Luna and Fangs to get away from the infected, referring to Twilight. Princess Luna's eyes widen with surprise, but she doesn't back down. "I assure you, my dear," she says, her voice steady, "Twilight is not infected. She's merely trying to help." The alien pony looks torn between fear and desperation. As the trio gets near, the gun self-shoots Twilight. Twilight cries out in pain as the bullet hits her, but she manages to remain standing. "It's okay," she says, her voice strained. "I'll be fine." The alien pony looks at Twilight in horror, then back at Princess Luna and Fangs. "I'm sorry." As the alien pony says this, it lowers its gun and backs away. Princess Luna moves towards Twilight, her face a mask of concern. "Twilight," she says, her voice filled with worry. "Are you all right? We need to get you to safety." Twilight nods, her face pale. As she tries to hide the pain, she manages a weak smile. "I'll be fine," she assures them, her voice strained. "Let's just focus on finding a way to stop this infection." Princess Luna nods grimly. "You're right," she says, her gaze hardening. "Fangs says I have a feeling the alien's gun has an AI." Fangs glances at the alien weapon, his brow furrowed in thought. "It's possible," he mutters, "but we can't worry about that right now. We need to find a way to stop the infection." Princess Luna nods in agreement. "Indeed," she says, her voice firm. The trio eventually find the intergalactic manual and head back to the AI orb. Twilight and Princess Luna work together to analyze the manual while Fangs keeps watch, his guns ready at all times. After several hours of studying, Twilight discovers a weakness in the infection that they might be able to exploit. The alien technology seems to be based on a complex energy matrix, she explains. "If we can somehow disrupt that matrix, we might be able to stop the infection from spreading." Princess Luna nods eagerly. "That could be our best chance," she says, her eyes filled with hope. "But how do we disrupt it?" Fangs asks, his expression grim. Twilight thinks for a moment, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Well," she says slowly, "the manual mentions something about a harmonic frequency. That's key to the technology's function. If we can create a sound wave that resonates at that frequency, it might be enough to disrupt the matrix and stop the infection." Princess Luna's eyes light up with excitement. "Excellent thinking, Twilight," she says, her voice filled with admiration. "Fangs, do you think you can help us create such a sound wave?" Fangs nods grimly. "I'll do my best," he says, his voice grave. With renewed determination, the trio set to work, using their combined knowledge and skills to create a powerful sonic weapon that can generate a harmonic frequency capable of disrupting the alien technology. As they work tirelessly throughout the night, the air is thick with anticipation and fear. As the first rays of dawn break through the darkness, the trio finally finishes their work. Princess Luna tests the weapon, and after several tries, she manages to generate a sound wave that resonates at the correct frequency. "It's ready," she says, her voice trembling with excitement and nervousness. Fangs nods, his expression grim. "Let's hope it's enough," he mutters under his breath. Together, they make their way back to the infested area, armed with their new weapon. Fangs says, "I hope this works like the BFG from the video game Doom." Princess Luna smirks at Fang's comment, a small chuckle escaping her lips. "Let's just hope it works better than the BFG from that old video game," she says, her tone lighthearted despite the gravity of the situation. As they approach the infested area, they can hear the eerie hum of the infection, like a swarm of angry bees. The air is thick with tension and fear as they prepare to use their new weapon. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Twilight asks, her voice trembling. Fangs nods grimly. "We don't have a choice," he says, his eyes hard. "We have to stop this infection before it spreads any further." Princess Luna nods in agreement. "Very well," she says, taking a deep breath. "On my mark, we'll fire the weapon simultaneously." The trio readies their weapons, their hearts pounding in their chests. "Mark," Princess Luna says, her voice firm. Together, they fire the weapon, unleashing a deafening sonic blast that engulfs the infected area. The harmonic frequency of the sound wave resonates through the air, causing the alien technology to malfunction and fail. The infection begins to slow down, then stop altogether. Princess Luna, Fangs, and Twilight watch in awe as the infected creatures collapse to the ground. Defeated. We did it, Twilight exclaims, her eyes wide with disbelief. Princess Luna nods, her expression a mix of relief and pride. Yes, she says softly, we did. Fangs, however, remains cautious. It's not over yet, he warns. The infection may have been stopped here, but there's no telling how far it's spread already. We need to find a way to contain it and develop a cure before it's too late. The trio nod in agreement, their determination only strengthened by their victory. Later at the military complex, Twilight is put into containment. Princess Luna in Fangs watch as Twilight is placed in a secure chamber, surrounded by thick layers of glass and metal. The chamber is designed to contain the alien infection, should it somehow manage to spread to her. She'll be safe here, a soldier assures them. Princess Luna nods grimly. Luna's gut grumbles as she did not eat at all yesterday. Fangs, noticing her discomfort, speaks up. Perhaps we should get something to eat before we continue working, he suggests. Princess Luna nods in agreement, and together they leave the containment area, headed for the mess hall. Fangs says, "Can I be your meal, Luna, my love?" Princess Luna's eyes widen in surprise at Fang's sudden question, and she feels a blush creep onto her cheeks. "That's not very appropriate, Fangs," she chastises, trying to hide her amusement. "Besides, I'm sure there's plenty of food for both of us." In the mess hall, they find a variety of food options, from prepackaged meals to a salad bar. Princess Luna opts for a light salad, while Fangs fills his plate with meatloaf and mashed potatoes. As they eat, they discuss their next steps in containing the infection and developing a cure. As they finish their meal, they are approached by a scientist who has been working on analyzing the alien technology. "I've made some progress in understanding the infection," he says, his voice hushed. Luna can tell Fangs is sad for not being bored by her. The scientist's words catch their attention. "Excellent," Princess Luna says, her eyes brightening. "What have you discovered?" The scientist leads them to a lab where he shows them his findings. "I have managed to isolate a weakness in the alien technology," he explains, pointing to a series of diagrams on a computer screen. "If we can replicate this weakness and use it against the infection, we might be able to stop it from spreading." Princess Luna nods thoughtfully. "That's promising." Fangs, on the other hand, looks skeptical. "It's a risky move," he warns. "If we don't get it right, we could make the infection even stronger." The scientist nods in agreement. "There is some risk involved," he admits, "but it's worth a shot." Princess Luna sighs, weighing the risks and benefits. "Very well," she says at last. "We'll proceed with caution. But if there's even a chance of stopping this infection, we have to try." Fangs looks sad that Luna turned him down as he was hoping to be bored. And Luna sees Fang's sad face. Princess Luna notices Fang's downcast expression and reaches out to pat him gently on the shoulder. "I know this must be difficult for you," she says softly, her voice filled with understanding. "But we're in this together, and we'll find a way to stop this infection, no matter what it takes." Fangs says, "It's not that. I was hoping to be bored by you again. I can't remember the last time I was in your sexy gut pleasing you." Princess Luna's eyes widen in surprise at Fang's honest confession. She blushes lightly, feeling both flattered and embarrassed. "I'm sorry, Fangs," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't realize. I promise, once this is all over, we can." Fangs is happy to hear that. The scientist clears his throat, interrupting their moment. "We should probably get back to work," he says, pointing at the computer screen. "We don't have much time before the infection spreads any further." Princess Luna nods in agreement, her mind already focused on the task at hand. "Yes, you're right." Princess Luna and Fangs follow the scientist back to the lab, their minds racing with possibilities and fears. As they work on replicating the weakness in the alien technology, they can't shake the feeling that they're walking a tightrope. One misstep could mean the end for them all. Princess Luna looks at Fangs with concern, not wanting to see him upset. She knows the situation is dire, and they have to focus on finding a cure, but she also can't help but feel for his desires. As they continue their work, she tries to find ways to reassure him that they will make it through this together. Princess Luna glances at Fangs, her expression softening. "I understand how you feel," she says quietly. "And I promise that once this is over, we'll find a way to make up for it." Fangs perks up at her words, a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Fangs also blushes. Princess Luna nods encouragingly, hoping to see more of that smile from him. "We're in this together," she reminds him, squeezing his shoulder gently. "And we'll get through it, no matter what." The scientist nods in agreement, his eyes fixed on the computer screen. "We're making progress," he says, his voice sounding more hopeful than he feels. "I think we might be able to replicate the weakness soon." Princess Luna exhales softly, relief washing over her. "That's great news." Fangs looks at Princess Luna with a mixture of hope and determination. "If we can stop this infection, it'll all be worth it," he says, his voice rough with emotion. Princess Luna squeezes his shoulder again, offering what comfort she can. "We're almost there." As they continue their work, Princess Luna can't help but feel a sense of dread creeping up on her. She knows that failure is not an option, but the pressure is starting to weigh heavily on her shoulders. The scientist glances up from his computer, his eyes filled with concern. "We're running out of time." "I know," Princess Luna says, her voice barely above a whisper. "But we have to keep going. We can't give up now." Fangs nods in agreement, his determination evident in his eyes. "We'll find a way," he says, his voice filled with conviction. Princess Luna smiles at Fangs, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispers. "You're right. We'll find a way." She turns back to the scientist. "Keep working on replicating the weakness. We'll do everything we can to buy you some more time." The scientist nods and returns to his work, his hoofs flying across the keyboard as he enters commands into the computer. Princess Luna and Fangs work together, poring over data and analyzing samples, searching for any clue that might help them stop the infection. Princess Luna's eyes dart around the lab, taking in every detail. Her heart races as she feels the pressure of the situation closing in on her. She knows that if they don't find a cure soon, it's only a matter of time before the infection spreads beyond control. Just then a cure is found. Princess Luna's eyes widen in disbelief as she stares at the computer screen. The scientist's words echo in her ears. "We did it. We found the cure." Tears of relief and joy streak down her cheeks, blurring her vision. But there is a downside, the blood of an infected alicorn as a component of the cure. Princess Luna takes a deep breath, steeling herself for the decision she knows she has to make. She looks at Fangs, her expression filled with regret. "We have to use infected alicorn blood," she says quietly. "It's the only way to create the cure." Fangs nods, his eyes filled with understanding. Fangs says, "Oh no, poor Twilight." Princess Luna's heart breaks at the thought of using infected alicorn blood, especially knowing how much Twilight Sparkle would suffer if they did. But she knows it's a necessary sacrifice for the greater good. "We'll do everything we can to help Twilight," she promises, her voice barely above a whisper. The scientist nods grimly, his eyes fixed on the computer screen. "We'll make sure her suffering is minimized," he says, his voice rough with emotion. "But we have to move forward. Time is of the essence." Princess Luna takes a deep breath, steeling herself for what's to come. With a heavy heart, Princess Luna nods her agreement. "All right, let's get started." The scientist wastes no time, quickly preparing the sample of infected alicorn blood for the cure. Princess Luna watches as he works, her stomach churning with dread. As Fangs tries to ease his anxiety with chocolate peanut butter cups and milk, Princess Luna can't help but feel a sense of foreboding. She knows that using infected alicorn blood is a dangerous game they're playing, and there's no guarantee it will work. But she also knows that they have no other choice. The scientist finishes preparing the sample and looks up at Princess Luna, his eyes filled with determination. "All right," he says quietly. "We're ready." Princess Luna nods, taking a deep breath. This is it, the moment of truth. The scientist injects the sample of infected alicorn blood into the cure, watching as the solution begins to bubble and churn. Princess Luna holds her breath, praying that this will work. After what feels like an eternity, the scientist declares, "It's working." Princess Luna's eyes widen in disbelief as she stares at the computer screen. The cure is working. A rush of relief and excitement surges through her veins. But the celebration is short-lived as she remembers the sacrifice they had to make. Princess Luna turns to the scientist, her expression filled with gratitude and sorrow. "Thank you," she whispers, "for everything." The scientist nods, his eyes filled with understanding. He knows the weight of their decision and the sacrifice they had to make. Fangs finishes his chocolate peanut butter cup and sets the wrapper down on the table, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. He looks over at Princess Luna and the scientist, his face a mixture of relief and concern. "So," he says quietly, "what's the next step?" Princess Luna takes a deep breath, her eyes darting around the lab. "We need to find a way to distribute the cure as quickly as possible," she says, her voice stern. "The infection is spreading fast, and we don't have much time." The scientist nods in agreement, already starting to make plans. Fangs says maybe we can make a bomb that can spread the cure without the explosions. Fangs' suggestion catches Princess Luna off guard. "A bomb?" she asks, raising an eyebrow. "That sounds extreme." The scientist pauses for a moment, considering the idea. "It's not a bad idea," he says slowly, "but we'd need to be careful." Fangs says yes, not all bombs are fireballs, Luna, my love. Princess Luna nods, taking a moment to process the idea. "All right," she says, steeling herself. "Let's do it." The scientist smiles, relieved that she's on board. "Great," he says, already starting to make plans. As they work on the new plan, Princess Luna can't help but feel a sense of unease. Using a bomb to spread the cure is risky, but it might be their only hope. She glances over at Fangs, who is now pacing back and forth, deep in thought. "Are you sure about this, Fangs?" He stops pacing and looks at you. "I'm not sure about anything anymore, Princess," he says quietly. "But if this is what we have to do, then we do it." His voice is strained, filled with the weight of the decision they've all made. Princess Luna nods, understanding the burden he carries. Fangs says if there are any deaths, it will not be as bad as the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6, 1945, and August 9, 1945 on Earth. We are not using nukes. Princess Luna shudders at the mention of nuclear weapons. "Of course not," she says quickly, trying to reassure herself as much as Fangs. "Our plan doesn't involve anything like that. We'll find another way to spread the cure without causing unnecessary harm." Fangs nods, seeming to relax a bit. The day of the bombing has came. The scientist continues working on the bomb, his movements quick and precise. Princess Luna watches him intently, her heart racing with anticipation and fear. As they work, they hear the distant cries of the infected, their grotesque moans echoing through the halls. It's a reminder of the urgency of their mission. Princess Luna grits her teeth, trying to block out the horrifying sounds. She turns to Fangs, who's now pacing back and forth again. "Are you sure you're all right?" she asks, her voice filled with concern. Fangs stops pacing and takes a deep breath. "Yeah." Fangs says there will be more cured than there will be blown up. I just don't know how many. Princess Luna looks over at the scientist, who's now carefully assembling the bomb. "We don't have a choice," she says quietly, her voice filled with determination. "We have to do this." Fangs nods, his eyes fixed on the scientist. The minutes tick by as they wait for the bomb to be ready. Then the bombs were done. The three of them stand in silence for a moment, each lost in their own thoughts. Finally, Princess Luna clears her throat, breaking the tension. "All right," she says, her voice shaking slightly. "We're ready." The scientist nods, his hands trembling as he lifts the bomb. "On my mark." Princess Luna nods, her heart pounding in her chest. 3, 2, 1. The scientist drops the bomb, and it explodes with a deafening roar, sending a shockwave through the lab. Princess Luna winces, covering her ears as the dust and debris swirl around them. As the dust begins to settle, Princess Luna cautiously approaches the site of the explosion, her eyes wide with anticipation. Fangs and the scientist follow closely behind. As they get closer, they see a small circle of cured creatures surrounding the blast site, their eyes filled with gratitude and relief. Princess Luna feels a surge of hope as she sees the cured creatures. "It worked," she exclaims, her voice filled with disbelief. Fangs and the scientist exchanged nervous glances before nodding in agreement. Zone by zone the land was cured. As they continued their journey, they encountered more and more cured creatures, their numbers growing with every step. The once barren wasteland was slowly transforming into a lush, green landscape, teeming with life. The air was filled with the sounds of birds chirping and animals rustling in the underbrush. Luna and Fangs finally had time to do their vor thing. After days of traveling through the newly cured land, Princess Luna and Fangs found themselves in a small clearing surrounded by towering trees. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the ground. As they sat down to rest, Luna couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the beauty around her. Before the voring, the two got intimate. The sun was setting over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. In the distance, they heard the soft rustling of leaves and the chirping of birds. Princess Luna looked up at Fangs, her eyes shining with anticipation. Without a word, she leaned in closer, her lips brushing against his. Fangs responded, his lips meeting hers in a passionate kiss. The kiss deepened as their tongues danced together, their bodies pressed tightly against each other. As they continued to kiss, Luna felt a surge of power course through her veins. She broke the kiss, her eyes locked onto Fangs. "I knew you couldn't resist me for long," he teased, his voice husky with desire. Luna chuckled softly before opening her mouth wide, revealing her sharp teeth. Fangs didn't flinch as she slowly began to swallow him whole. The sensation of being swallowed was both exhilarating and terrifying for Fangs. As he slid down Luna's throat, he could feel the muscles of her esophagus contracting around him. But he knew he was safe with Luna. She loved him too much to hurt him. Finally, he felt himself being pushed further down into Luna's stomach. The warmth and darkness enveloped him as he was consumed by her. Fang's favored part was the digestion, as Fangs was a masochist for it. Princess Luna's stomach churned as she felt Fangs's body being broken down by her powerful acids. It was a strange sensation, both pleasurable and unsettling. She closed her eyes, focusing on the feeling as it washed over her. After several hours later, Luna belched up Fang's skull. Fangs then started to regenerate his body back from the horn down. The clearing was bathed in an eerie blue glow as Princess Luna watched Fangs regenerate his body. It was both fascinating and unnerving to see him come back to life piece by piece. His skeleton first began to reform, followed by his muscles and organs. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Fangs' skin began to knit itself back together, covering his new form. He opened his eyes, looking around in wonder. "That was intense," he said, his voice still hoarse from the ordeal. Luna smiled, her fangs glinting in the moonlight. "Fangs says I love you, Luna." Princess Luna giggled softly, nuzzling against Fangs. "I love you too, Fangs. Now let's get some rest. We have a long journey ahead of us." With that, she curled up next to him, their bodies pressed tightly against each other. The end.
That's all, Zipsters! Like and subscribe.